When this whole sordid mess started, I remember my husband going to the grocery. And after he unloaded the groceries, I did, as most wives do, open the refrigerator doors and the freezer to see what he purchased. I was a little taken aback when I looked in the freezer and half of it was jam-packed of Trader Joe tamales of all sorts. Some people hoarded toilet paper in that time, but my husband decided to hoard tamales from Trader Joe's. I asked him if he felt a little bit embarrassed as the checkout person scanned each one after the other of those tamales. He said, "No, we need these tamales to get through this." It's our natural instinct when things feel out of control to gather in and to give yourself some semblance of security. We all worry about the day when there won't be enough toilet paper or tamales or whatever we need or desire. And then also, deeper down, below the surface, we harbor worries and fears for the day we aren't enough. We aren't enough for our jobs, for our families, or for God's love. In our lives of faith, we are all seeking that holy feeling of enough, of being enough. This morning is Good Shepherd Sunday, and most years we read Psalm 23. I believe it speaks to the power of the Holy Spirit. No matter if you are a shepherd or not, or you even came in 100 yards of a sheep, this psalm yields power and hope. With that said, I will say that reading the 23rd Psalm with my brothers and sisters in South Dakota when I was a pastor there has forever changed the way I see this psalm. It has changed the way I see and think about the metaphor of the Good Shepherd. First of all, I never previously knew how dumb sheep are. I hate to call them dumb, it's not a nice word, but I honestly don't know another term to describe the intelligence level of a sheep. One congregant in South Dakota told me if sheep could find a way to kill themselves on a perfectly flat pasture, they would. Now, I don't think Good Shepherd Sunday is about God calling us dumb, yet it is showing us the need and connection for a shepherd to their sheep. The sheep need the provision and care of the shepherd, even when they don't realize it. Furthermore, Psalm 23 has forever changed for me several years ago when we did a Bible study on it in South Dakota. When modern Americans think of green pastures as described in this psalm, we think of a beautiful, lush field with greenery and alfalfa, a sweeping landscape. But the green pastures of the psalmist probably envisioned were very different. They were rocky and dry desert with only small sprouts of green grass here and there. In the Middle East, shepherds take their flocks to these green pastures, if you will, where their sheep can be led to small patches here and a small patch of grass there. Just a mouthful here and there. The shepherds are guiding the sheep through these desert lands to make sure the sheep have enough to eat. This is actually what the psalmist and the Middle Easterns mean by green pastures. The shepherds led them to enough green grass. The phrase good enough usually has a negative connotation. I just imagine a raft with duct taped hole on it. It's good enough to get you a little bit down the river. But what if enough was all you ever needed? When we look around and we say, this is enough to get me through for today, we stop living in the scarcity of what is not there. Now, to be clear, people are experiencing real scarcity right now of money, resources, health, food, companionship. And in no way do I want to ignore or take light of that or overlook it. When God's people don't have what they need to get through today, the only acceptable reaction is outrage. Yet there are times when we are focused on what is not there, that we can't see the provision for today. When the psalmist speaks of green pastures and I shall not want, that doesn't mean that we are just given everything we could possibly want and desire, that we are to be in fields of alfalfa overwhelmed by abundance. It actually means we are given just enough. For when we see we have enough, we realize there's enough to share. This psalm is beautiful and poetic, and it uplifts us in the moment. But how do we live according to the truth of this psalm? How do we allow it to uplift us for more than just a moment? We do it by allowing God's deep love and grace to sink into our bones. It is the realization that all that we are and all that we have are from God. God has been with us in this journey so far, and God will be with us as we continue. We may no longer be into hoarding things like toilet paper and tamales from Trader Joe's, but we're still struggling to feel like there is enough, that we are enough. We've had an upsetting month, and the weeks and months ahead seem just as uncertain. And we don't know if we will have enough or we will be able to handle it. Then it's time that we hear these words afresh. Even though I walk through the darkest valley, I fear no evil, for you are with me. You know, as citizens of the industrial world, we sometimes delude ourselves into thinking that we are self-sufficient, that we can win our own security for the future, and that we can do it all ourselves. But we aren't, and we can't. We need God. We need each other. We don't know what the months ahead will bring, but maybe right now we can stop, take a deep breath, and see the ways God has given us enough for today. Amen.
The Lord is my shepherd. I shall not want.
He makes me lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside still waters.
He restores my soul. He leads me in right paths for his name's sake.
Even though I walk through the darkest valley, I fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me.
You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You anoint my head with oil. My cup overflows.
Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of the Lord my whole life long.